There are some absolutely beautiful spring trends on offer this year, and there are also some that are not worth wasting our money on. And today that's what I'm focusing on. I just wanted to share a couple of those spring trends that I really think we should avoid and why. Hi, I'm Leonie and welcome to my channel. Now, a new season brings a whole lot of new trends, and while that's really exciting, it can sometimes get a little confusing, and it's easy to get mixed up with knowing which way you should go if you're interested in dipping your toe in the new trends. So today I thought that I would focus on the trends that I think we should avoid and why. So instead of me rabbiting on, I'm just going to get right to the point. So here we go. Now, first up, and this is a trend that we've seen obviously before, we know that fashion is cyclical, so the trends do come back generally slightly differently, but what we are seeing this spring is a trend for wearing what I'm calling perfectly imperfect clothes. So the idea of distressed hemlines and undone seams and just all sorts of distressing is very much a look for spring. And the reason that I have put this look on my list is because I truly don't think that it stands the test of time. It is a look that is a little tricky to make look polished and pull together. And certainly if that's the look that you're going for, if you like to look put together and sophisticated and just nice and stylish, wearing these pieces that do have quite a bit of distressing can make you look the opposite. So now I'm not saying if you love this trend and you love this distressed, undone look, then obviously you need to go for it. But what I am saying is if you're trying to look a little put together, this is not a trend for you. Now, super sheer fabrics have been really having a moment in fashion as well. And of course, with spring, summer, and the warmer weather coming around, there are going to be a lot of sheer dresses and tops and blouses on offer. Now, while I do like this look and I do think that it can be styled to look really pretty and elegant, the reason I've put these sheer pieces on today's list is because they do require quite a bit of thought and effort when it comes to styling. And you also generally need to think about what you are going to wear underneath. So you'll need a slip or you'll need something to kind of cover up where you would like to cover up. So I suppose it can be a good look, but it is on this list because it is a little tricky to style. So if you're anything like me and you don't like a lot of fuss and you don't like to spend a whole lot of time creating outfits and looks, then this is one that I definitely think that you should avoid. Certainly if this is your style, go for it, but it is a tricky trend to try. So for that reason, it's on this list. And at this point, I'd just like to say a very big thank you to the team at Squarespace for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. Now, if you've been following me here for a while, you'll know that I love Squarespace. I have a Squarespace blog, and the reason I do that is because Squarespace is the easiest way to build any sort of online presence. So if you're looking to build a website, a blog, or sell products this year, then I can hand on heart recommend Squarespace as the easiest way to do it. When I started my blog, I used one of the templates on offer at Squarespace, and there are so many beautiful templates to choose from. And that just means that you can choose a template, make it your own, and then you are good to go. So essentially you can be online in as little as a couple of hours, and you can't beat that. There are so many blogging options available on Squarespace, whether you want to blog for fun or set up a small business, or if you have products to sell, there's really something there for everyone, and the templates are really easy to use. You can also do absolutely everything you need to do from your Squarespace site. So you can send out your emails, you can check your analytics and see where your traffic's coming from. Everything is all there in one place, which streamlines the process and makes it super easy. If you are keen to get online this year, what I suggest you do is whipping on over to squarespace.com, take advantage of their free trial, and then when you're ready to push play on that, simply use my unique URL, which is squarespace.com/The Style Insider, and my code, which is simply The Style Insider, and that will save you 10% off your first Squarespace website or domain. I will leave that link in the description box below and some more information so you can take advantage of this offer. But now let's get on with those trends to avoid. Another trend that I think is tricky, and for that reason it's on this list, is low-rise jeans and pants. Now, I'm sure some of you will be excited to hear that the high-rise is kind of coming down a little bit. Me, not so much. I love a high-rise jean, I love a mum-style jean, or even just a mid-rise jean or pant. I do find them a little bit more stylish. They also elongate your leg. The higher the rise, the longer your leg will appear. So for me, low-rise jeans are a very tricky trend these days. I don't like showing off my midriff, so it's really hard to kind of pull together an outfit where you can wear a low-rise trouser or pant or jean and not show any of your midriff off. Of course, it is always possible, and if you love bearing your midriff, that is great, but I do tend to find that low-rise jeans and pants will make your legs look shorter and slightly wider. So if you'd like to elongate your legs, this is a trend you need to avoid. Now this spring, summer, there seems to be a real push towards sexy boudoir style pieces, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of the lace corsets being worn under blazers and sexy slips being worn on their own. And while this can look gorgeous, don't get me wrong, again, I think it's a tricky trend to wear, and it's not generally office appropriate, and you do have to think about your occasion and situation and the crowd in terms of wearing this look. And I know I'll come under fire here for being a little old-fashioned perhaps, but there is a place for a sexy lingerie style look. I tend to think it may have gone a little bit too far. Of course, there are always exceptions to the rule, and it can be styled in a very elegant, sophisticated way, but it's not that easy to do. And certainly for me, over 50, I do have to be careful with this type of look because I think it's just too easy to go wrong. So while the sexy boudoir lingerie pieces will be worn on the outside this season, it is a trend that I'm going to avoid. And while, as I said, it will look beautiful on some people, it's just not that easy to pull off. So for that reason, I'll definitely be avoiding it, and perhaps it's worth just giving it a little bit of extra consideration. Now this one may seem a little hypocritical because I'm actually wearing these heart earrings, but heart motifs seem to be absolutely everywhere this spring, summer, and in a really big way. And in fact, I think we've kind of gone too far. A delicate detail of a heart in like an earring, or there's some gorgeous shoes on offer with pretty heart detailing is one thing. Having huge heart motifs all over your dresses and shirts and skirts is kind of taking the trend too far. So the heart motif is on this list because I think we've gone a little bit far with it. I always think cute little hearts have a place when it comes to fashion and trends, like these earrings, or as I said, cute little shoe details or rings or necklaces, but very much in a small way, not in the explosion of hearts that we're seeing this season. So maybe think about hearts and go small instead of going so large with them. Now, fringing is nothing new, but what I am seeing this season is an explosion of fringing, from completely fringed dresses to jackets with really long fringing detail. And I suspect I may come under fire for this because I know it's a trend that a lot of you actually really like. And even me, I do like a little bit of fringing, but again, like a lot of these trends that are on this list, they've kind of just gone to an extreme. And I suppose I think anything that does take things to that sort of lengths is just a little bit too much. It's a little too extreme, and it also means that these pieces aren't going to stand the test of time in terms of wearability and creating outfits that look modern and fashionable. They will look on trend this season, but how long that will last is the question, really. So if you prefer a wardrobe that is a little more hardworking and one that can last more than a couple of seasons, then these overly fringed pieces are not for you. Now, we've seen lots and lots of tailoring over the last couple of years, and I am absolutely here for it. But what I am seeing quite a bit for spring, summer, and it kind of does make sense, is the same oversized sort of tailored pieces and tailored sort of suits, suit pants, matching blazer, but they tend to be in very pale, pastel-y, washed out colors. Now we've sort of gone from the neutrals that we were wearing to a prettier version, which is these sort of pastel-y colors. But I do think they can be quite tricky to wear, and some of the pastel shades and sort of really washed out light greens and pastel-y pinks can just be a little tricky to wear. I think it's going to depend on your skin tone and your color preferences with these. Obviously, if you love pastels, they are going to work for you. They're going to be great. But if I was opting for some suiting myself and looking at updating my lineup, I would probably go for more of a neutral tone. So more of the sort of camels, beiges, blacks. I would probably even go white or slightly off-white, because it is going to be more of a timeless option. But certainly if you love these pastels, go for it. But I just don't think that they are super wearable, and they're not really here to stay. Now, another trend that is actually going to be huge literally this season is padded shoulders. So think 80s styling, dynasty, however you say that, kind of shoulder pads in jackets and blazers. Now this may be a look for you if you don't have a broad shoulder. Now the reason this trend is actually on my list is because it will date. It will be a piece that you will very much be getting your seam ripper and trying to unpick those shoulder pads so you can still wear that jacket. And can anyone relate to that? Have you ever done that before? I certainly did that back in the 80s when I had some jackets and blazers that I absolutely loved, but the heavy full-on shoulder pads kind of went out of fashion, and I still wanted to wear those pieces and love them. But it's just not that successful when you try and remove those shoulder pads. You end up with excess fabric there, and it doesn't seem to work. So think closely or think carefully about investing in this trend. And certainly if you have smaller shoulders, this is a great way to balance your proportions. So all I'm saying with this one is think carefully before you invest in this trend. It's not something that's going to be around for the long haul, but if you do have smaller shoulders or not much in the way of shoulders, then this is a look that can help you balance your proportions a little bit, but just think carefully before you invest. Now this one is probably going to be my most contentious, and that is oversized denim jeans. Now I know a lot of you will probably like them, and you may be thinking I'm a little hypocritical here because I recently showed you a pair of oversized denim cargo jeans that I bought recently, and the reason that pair work is because they're actually fitted around my waist, hips, and they fall loosely from my thighs, my outer thighs down. But what I have seen with a lot of these looser jean styles is that they tend to be baggy all over, which just creates a whole lot of excess fabric and excess size. So if you are trying to look sleek and well put together, these are going to be a really tricky trend to try. And certainly for me, I think that this is a trend that looks great on a runway and on a super lean model, but it is a very tricky trend to pull off and look sophisticated and stylish in real life. Now, I'm not saying that it can't be done, but I do think that as soon as you sit down in these pants, you end up with so much fabric. There's a lot going on, and for that reason, I would steer clear of them. I would stay true to the jeans that you actually like, and if they're skinnies, stick with them. If a pair of jeans make you feel great, I always say just stick with what works for you. Just be a little bit cautious with these oversized denim jeans because there's just a lot going on there. Now, last but not least is the trend for wearing bubble skirts, and the only reason they're on this list is because I tend to think that they look a little bit childlike, and there are so many gorgeous maxi skirts and even beautiful mini skirts that are around this season, and I just think that, yeah, the bubble skirts look like something a little girl would wear. And while that's not such a bad thing, I don't think that it's a trend that is extremely wearable or a trend that has much longevity. And for that reason, don't come at me too hard, but for that reason, I've included bubble skirts on this list as well. If you enjoyed today's video and you would like to see what spring fashion trends are worth spending money on and what are those trends that we should get excited about, then click or tap on the screen here and I will see you there.